And we're back now with former Republican National Committee Chairman and former Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour. Governor Barbour, you've got to gavel this thing to order. Do you expect any shenanigans from the Stop Trump movement at all?
I really don't. I think people have realized that the Republican voters of the country have spoken. Donald Trump wasn't my first choice. He got more votes in Republican primaries than any other Republican candidate in the history of our party. He won a huge victory. And I think some people who weren't for him are reconciled to that.
You think that's the case? They're reconciled? Because I've been having a lot of conversations here with people who are kind of looking around. They're reconciled to the fact he got the nomination, but they're still nervous. Mike Pence maybe helps towards that, but they're still nervous about what's going to happen to this Republican Party. Is that what you see?
Well, I think people recognize that both parties have nominated the most negatively perceived candidates, nominees for the presidency in the history of polling, probably in the history of the country. And so, of course, people worry about that, but I think this convention will help Donald Trump. I think the convention actually is a great big TV show.
Yeah.
And in this TV show, they're going to learn a whole lot more about Donald Trump, and I think they're going to like what they learn. Mike Pence, the Democrats are going to try to make him out to be an ogre. And he is such a nice man. He's a gentleman. He's nice to everybody. I think the American people are going to like Mike Pence. He's been a very, very good congressman, good governor, and well received.
Mm-hmm. When you think about this convention, I mean, is this Donald Trump's convention? Is this the Republican Party? Is it which way?
You know, John, I ran this convention in 1996, and Bob Dole was our nominee. It is the Republican Party's convention, but it is totally colored by the nominee. If you go back to 1996, the closest the election ever was in our polling was Wednesday night of the convention. And I think this convention will be good for Donald Trump. We've seen the polls are closing up much, much closer than not very long ago. Mm-hmm. And I think this will be good. But neither of these conventions is going to be some quantum leap.
Because there are a lot of people who aren't showing up, who a lot of analysts, even Republicans, thought were the future of the Republican Party. Senator Rubio, Governor Nikki Haley, Governor Susana Martinez. They're not anywhere in evidence. Is that a problem for the Republican Party?
Well, of course, for some of those people, like Marco Rubio, he's running for re-election. And he needs to be in Ohio. People who are running for office, they need to be where they are. We've got 24 senators who are up for re-election this year that are Republicans. And candidly, unless Rob Portman, who's from Ohio, for the rest of them, they're much, much better off to take this week in their own states for their own elections.
All right. What about the governor of Ohio, though? He's the governor of the state where the convention is, and he's missing in action.
Well, you know, it would be great if John Kasich were here and if he was enthusiastically support the nominee. For me, I voted for John Kasich in our primary in Mississippi. Trump was not my first choice, but my mama used to say life's a series of choices. And if the choice is between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, I'm going to be for Donald Trump every time.
As we can hear in the background, they're still rehearsing here. I've been talking to party chairs who talk about that there's been a fundraising hurt. You know about the process of raising money. Has Donald Trump hurt the ability to raise money for the Republican Party?
Well, of course, in his campaign for the nomination, they didn't really take that very seriously. Has to be taken seriously. A lot of people don't remember, John, Barack Obama outspent Mitt Romney. And right now, Hillary Clinton is raising enough money to burn a wet mule. And we're going to have to raise a sufficient amount of money to get our message out. But it isn't decided by money, but you have to have enough money to get your message out. And we're behind the curve, but we got time to catch up.
All right. Governor Haley Barbour, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks.
Should be an exciting week here. And we'll be back in a moment.